to the Keyboard Road Warrior series with me, Movie Scouser 007. This is the video where we play Euro Truck Simulator 2 with nothing but a low-end laptop and its keyboard to demonstrate that you can have fun, if sometimes stressful fun, playing Euro Truck Simulator 2 without the high-end tower PC and steering wheel. Obviously, we're not decrying that. Steering wheel is exactly where we'd like to be, and if you followed me, you'll know exactly where I'm going to be in about 4 months' time. So, first things first, we need to rest and recuperate, and so that's what we're going to do. But before we do that, we need to collect those two collectibles, and then get ourselves some rest there. So we're going to take a right straight across the roundabout and then a left at that junction. So, we're a bit quiet. That's more like it. Parking brakes on. Boom. I'll tell you what, we're also a bit. That's more like it. Okay. Alright, we're good. Yes, I'm still, it's been quite a while. I've had a little bit of a break because I've had my in-laws staying with us. We've had our in-laws staying with us, and obviously, whoa. You can't take over the living room and have everyone be quiet while you're doing a video. It's not. It wouldn't be much fun for them. Right. Whoa. I've completely lost my bearings. Yeah, I've gone completely the wrong way. Okay, fair enough. Let's go straight on and take a roundabout and then a right again. So yes, I've had the in-laws, and they're lovely people. I really like them. I could have got stuffed when it came to in-laws, but I got wonderful in-laws, and I love them to bits. They're brilliant, but they demand a lot of attention. Yeah, because they're visiting and they want to spend time with us, and it's not a bad thing. It's just you have to not do stuff while you're with them, and we're more inclined to, because in about 4 months we're going back to the UK and they're staying in New Zealand because they live in New Zealand. Their home is in New Zealand now. They bought a house in New Zealand, and that's what they are. That's what they're doing. That's who they are. They lived here in the 80s. My wife was born. Ooh, I got away with that. Some bad driving going on here. So we're going to take a right at the roundabout and then another right. Follow. Whoa, and then follow the road around. This is what happens. You have to pay attention to the road if you're going to play this and not crash. But given what I'm doing, I'm trying to. Yes, I don't think I could play drums. I don't think I could play an instrument and sing. I don't think I could be an air traffic controller. There are a great many things that require you to be able to focus on one thing at a time, and I don't think I could do any of them. Well, what the heck am I doing? So I'm having a little bit of problem with my timing device today. I use an iPad with a big clock on it, but Renault Track Dealer, never mind. And we need to go back to the Renault Track Dealer. Wait, oh, don't crash. There we go. That was not pretty, but it got the job done. I keep forgetting occasionally that the truck dealer in the larger cities is also the location for the repair centre, the garage. So let's repair. Now what's the damage? 1200, I suppose, given some of our more recent bills. 1200 isn't bad. I'm trying to think. Where are we gonna get a garage in Oslo? Don't think we are. Don't think we're gonna get a garage in Oslo because it's not on the main map. So let's do our usual. Get some rest. That would be some money coming in. And of course it's raining. Right. Let's pick ourselves up a job. Oh, I was going to only do 2, wasn't I? 2. This is the trouble with not doing it one after the other, with having to do it in consecutive days or at different times, is that you make a decision and then completely forget about it. Right, let's see what we have got. We're in Oslo, which is up here. So we could go back to Brno. We could go to Gdańsk. We haven't been to Gdańsk. Have we been to Stuttgart? Yeah, we've been to Stuttgart, and we've been to Birmingham. We've not been to Metz. But let's go to Gdańsk in Poland. It's a nice big fat payoff, £45,000. It's an ADR job, and it's a standard delivery. So let's get that. Then let's get our screenshot of it. There's a lot of clicking going on. There's a lot of clicking going on. Right, so that's that. Right then. Let's engine on. Okay. Have we got... yeah, we got our roof auxiliaries on. Wow, that's some pretty hard rain. Where are all the street lights? This is very dark. It looks like we have to go out of town to get to this garage. That's fine. Let's rock. So I'm not sure what to talk about today. The in-laws came round. Primarily they came around to visit Catherine, but they used it as an excuse. Her dad is a pretty impressive bridge player. He's into bridge in a big way. In fact, they both like playing bridge, but it's her dad who's the competition player, and there was a competition in Christchurch, which is where we are in New Zealand. It's east coast of the... Oh, I've gone too far. It's the east coast of the South Island of New Zealand. New Zealand's two islands. There's a square island and an elongated island. The South Islanders tend to refer themselves as mainlanders, but all of the economic and political power is in the north. There are 3 or 4 big cities in the South Island: Dunedin, Invercargill, Queenstown, Blenheim, but Christchurch is by far and away the biggest of the cities in the South Island of New Zealand. Or at least it was until the 2 earthquakes in September of 2010 and February of 2011. There we go, let's hook up and let's go. And I mean, the footprint of Christchurch is bigger. It's not as big, not nearly as big as Auckland. Auckland is significantly larger than any city in New Zealand, bar none. Auckland is fast approaching a third of New Zealand's population in one city. It was the capital until the South Island was making murmurs about seceding, becoming a separate country, and so they moved the capital to Wellington, which is where it is now. Wellington's alright, but Wellington is quite a weird city in that it's very badly placed. It's got quite weird weather conditions. It can be bright and sunny and lovely one minute and absolutely horrendous the next. It's got a appallingly positioned airport, and yes, it's not particularly pleasant to fly in and out of, I understand. I thankfully have never had to fly in and out of Wellington. When we went to Wellington, we drove there because we were doing a tour of the North Island, and so I never had to suffer a landing at Wellington. Damn, this is appalling. I can hardly see anything here. No. What? I've got my headlights on. I don't have my headlights on. That is... I can't see anything. I promise you I pressed that button a couple of times. That is much better. Well, that was a fine, but it was a useful fine, because otherwise I would have done the rest of the journey with those lights off, actually. Oh, no. I am going the wrong way. I'm alright. Whoa, what the heck? Okay. The one downfall of the keyboard steering is you don't know where your steering wheel is pointed because you've got no visual reference. You're essentially stabbing at the keyboard to get it to change, and gradual changes in steering are done by stabbing at the keyboard, and dramatic changes are done by pushing and holding the key down, and it's not particularly intuitive, but I don't mind. Oh, I crashed in. Somehow that didn't do any damage, even though we all heard the crash. I am looking forward. Actually, I want those lights, those high beams on. I'm looking forward to the rain stopping. The rain in this game it just has one setting, unbelievably bad, with lightning. That's the only setting. It's very loud. It's much louder than the engine, which I find a bit odd. And in fact, when the next ProMods updates comes out, I am going to make the engine noises louder. I want louder engine noises, and there's an option to do that with. Actually, no, I might just get a mod. We'll see. See how much quiet that is. You should be able to hear the lorry. No, I don't know that any lorry is that quiet on the inside, and I don't know that if it was quiet for the engine, why it wouldn't be quiet for the windscreen wipers. But you know, this is how the game designers have built the game. We've driven a couple of jobs for ITCC. I've not done anything for them recently, I don't think. I don't know. And back in the rain. So we've got a 22-hour journey in front of us. We are going to have to rest, but the journey, we've probably got enough time to have a second rest. It's not an urgent. Yeah, we've got 44 hours. We've got twice as much time as we need. So we've got enough time to fit in a rest, and two rests actually. So you look, our finances are doing quite well. We've got £205,000, which is quite good. We are obviously paying off another loan, I believe. Hang on, hang on. Let's go to the bank. Yeah, we've only paid 2 out of our next loan. Two instalments. We've paid 8 grand out of the 320 we owe. Obviously, every journey earns us a lot more money than we have to pay back, so we should be fine. But we needed that money in order to obtain the 2 garages that we want, the one in Edinburgh and the one in Amsterdam, I believe. Actually, no, I think we were all right for the Edinburgh one. I think it was Amsterdam. We needed funds to buy the Amsterdam one, and then we used those funds to put lorries in those 2 garages. So I think we bought. Don't know whether we upgraded yet or not. But we're going to Gdańsk. Gdańsk is not a capital city, so we're not going to be buying a garage in Gdańsk just yet, if at all. So we have 205,000, nearly 206,000. The next. Whoa! Oh, damn it! Did I do any damage to the lorry? No, we're lucky. We got lucky. Alright, the rain stopped, thankfully. We'll turn the wipers off, and then we'll be able to hear ourselves think. Now, I've got another problem I've got is I've got to keep my eye on my watch. Obviously, I've told you my iPad is possibly overheating a little bit, and as a result, it keeps switching on. It keeps crashing, and so I can't use the iPad to time this particular video. So I'm having to use the watch on my wrist, which means I'm having to take my eyes off the screen and focus on a much smaller timing device, which is obviously my wristwatch. But that's fine. £11, that'll do. So next, so have we got anyone? I don't think we've got anyone in there, so we'll go out in the outside lane. Yes. So, what was I talking about? New Zealand. I was talking about New Zealand. So while we've been here, we have toured quite a few bits of the South Island of New Zealand. We did quite a lot of the North Island in 2010. We've done quite a bit this year, because we're living in New Zealand this year rather than just visiting it for a couple of weeks. So we were here for a couple of weeks in 2010, because the wife's dad got posted here for... He got a sabbatical here for 5 months with the university in Auckland, which was kind of like the test bed for, do we want to come back to New Zealand? I don't know why they needed to bother. They absolutely wanted to. You could see it in their eyes. They emigrated in from rainy, cold Cardiff in 1984 to New Zealand, and then they came back in 2000 when my wife was 14. And then once all of the kids had been through university, apart from the youngest who wanted to go to university in New Zealand, they decided that they were going to go back. Now, they were going to sell their house, but they couldn't, so they've rented it. So that's fine, that's covering their mortgage. They're paying their mortgage in New Zealand with... Whoa. Oh, that was well rescued, even if I say so myself. Still no damage, which is all good. Okay, this is a fluid one, so I've got to watch. My cornering, because do you know what? He's gonna speed up, so I'm gonna let him go, because I know what'll happen if I try and overtake him. There'll be oncoming traffic, and it'll be a horrendous head-on collision, and I'll do damage to the truck and the load. And I'm kind of emotionally attached to this truck at the moment. At this point, this truck and I have been through quite a bit together, and so I don't want to see it hurt, and I don't want to do damage to my reputation and to the load, even though it is a fictional load and a fictional reputation. So yes, the South Island has less of the temperate weather than the North Island. Consistently, sorry. I mean, it does have some today is boiling hot. It's possibly one of the reasons why my electronics are struggling, is because they're getting no relief from the temperature that they're generating, because it's just as warm. You know, it's quite warm here. It's at 26 or 27 degrees centigrade here, so that's quite hot. I'm straddling 2 lanes there. That's bad news. I've got a sliding patio door open, and it's not doing anything. It's not bringing any cold air in, because there's no cold air to bring in. Now, I could use we've got what's called in New Zealand a heat pump, an air conditioning unit. I could put it on, but in fact, I could put it on, but the trouble is it's incredibly noisy, and there are enough noises and distractions going on around me without adding an additional one. But we'll see if it becomes unbearable, or well, while I'm downloading the first half from the camera to the computer, I'll make a judgment call about, and I'll put it on, see how noisy it is. But if I do put it on, obviously I've got to close the patio door, otherwise the heat pump's trying to cool the whole of New Zealand. Well, the whole of Christchurch at any rate. I'm weaving all over the road. What is the matter with me? So, I've probably got another 20 minutes of real time before I have to pause the video. But I'm also having to use the clock on the camera. There's a little timer on the camera to tell you how many minutes of footage you used. So I'm periodically just having a look down to see that that's all good. Yeah. But I've got quite used to filming these things with this. I use an iPhone, but obviously the iPhone would, if I had the iPhone just sat on the table, it would get a very low picture. So I might experiment with a different angle for the second half. We'll see. we'll see if it's any worse. But I've been putting it on I've been experimenting with all sorts of stands, props. I've used mixing bowls and mugs, and currently I'm using a glass. It's about the right height, it's got a flat bottom, there are no ridges, and I'm holding the iPhone in upright with a bulldog clip, and the base of the bulldog clip has got some blue tack on it so that the blue tack sticks to the glass, and that's how I'm doing it. Right, there's Gothenburg. We're heading steadily south. We've done about 6 in-game hours of driving so far, probably more. And yes. So I mean, it's constantly been evolving. If you watch the videos, you'll see there are all sorts of different angles. And the problem is, because I can't lock anything anywhere, the angle slightly changes. I have noticed. In the last, I've noticed that the camera screen doesn't show as much of the image as is being recorded. So where I thought I was getting it as close to the screen as possible, I actually wasn't. So you notice the last couple of videos I've really pushed the image close to the screen. I mean, you don't really need to see my hands. At this point you know that I'm using a keyboard, and occasionally my hands will make an appearance when I scratch my nose, or I point at something on the screen. For instance, now I'm pointing at that white car ahead, but in general you don't really need to. Oh gosh, I thought I was going to unbalance the load there. I think on balance, it's better for you to see as much of the screen as possible. I'm going to slow down a little bit because these are some quite tight turns, and I'm weaving all over this 3-lane road like a drunk. Yeah, so I'd rather you have as much of the screen as real estate as possible, and less of the keyboard. When I finally get round to building this big computer that I plan on building, and when I finally get the media capture device that I am planning on having, then I will. Then you'll be getting digital capture straight from the computer rather than from the screen itself. So you'll be, for a start, that black dot in the bottom right hand corner of the screen will be gone. Mind you, that black dot bottom of the screen will be gone when I stop using this laptop to record these. It's not really going away, unfortunately. If you remember, I used to have multicoloured stripe on the middle right-hand side of the screen, and that gradually disappeared. It was stuck pixels. I don't know what's causing the stuck pixels, but they do eerily correspond to where the power button is on the face of the laptop, which is about here. Yeah, it's on the power button's actually on the top part. Ooh, I'm weaving the top part above, directly above the keyboard. And when the screen folds down, you can see where the start button is. Now I don't know why that should be. The start button is not raised. It doesn't touch the screen. In fact, the keys for the keyboard sit higher than the power button. The power button is actually flush, sunken in fact. So I cannot imagine what on earth has caused those dead pixels, unless it's some kind of electrical interference. I really don't know. I would have thought there'd be more electrical interference with the speakers. There's a speaker row which is just oh dear. Oh, no, excellent for me. I've got a 1% damage on that. Oh, that's annoying. That's bloody annoying. Yeah, there's a speaker row there, just there below the screen. So, I'm pissed off now. I didn't need to take my hands off. I didn't need to do any of that demonstrating. I could have, in fact, used the cruise control. That's bloody infuriating. Right, so yes, I don't know why that dot's there, but you can see it's got a halo because the LED screen actually sends light from all 4 corners and then that light's reflected off a particular LED. So when the light's not getting through those stuck pixels, it's bouncing off the stuck pixels. So that will be a thing. That'll be a thing that goes. I'm planning on trying to get the media capture device to work with the latter half of the. When I get the laptop back, when the laptop comes back to the UK with the wife, I will have the screen capture device, and I will start recording these. And you'll get a much better quality. It won't be nearly as good as because it's not high definition. It's not a high definition image because the graphics for this are not good enough. Ooh, I just got a nice cool breeze from the outside. That's nice. So it'll be as good as it possibly can be without being proper high definition. So yes, the plan is to keep doing the keyboard Road Warriors, but do it with a screen capture device, and then record the audio into the screen capture device. So actually, the audio quality might get better. I plan to use the. I plan to keep using the keyboard and the laptop because I can sit quite close to it, and I can sort of do it. I don't want to get sort of. The thing is, the screen when projected on a larger, when these poor quality images from this laptop are projected on a larger screen, they actually suffer. I've done quite a few journeys, 6 or 7 journeys, actually more than that, probably a week's worth. Yeah, probably about 2 hours to 3 hours every night for over. Oh, I'm running out of fuel. Crap, didn't even spot that. 2 to 3 hours a night for nearly a fortnight, and then when we were in the Northland, I did a couple of nights of truck driving there for sort of 2 hours a night. So I've done a significant chunk. Let me look at the map and see where the nearest petrol. Oh gosh. Oh no, we're all right. There's one there. So I've done a significant number of hours with this laptop plugged into a larger screen, and as nice as it is to have a big screen image, you're not really gaining anything from the larger image because the pixels are being spread, the live pixels are being spread over more pixels, so the image looks more pixelated. It's like watching a low quality image on YouTube. Sometimes it's better not to enlarge it to full screen because it just becomes like watching a game of Minecraft. Yes. So the plan in the short term when we get back to the UK is to carry on playing with this with the keyboard for this series. I will play my private profile with my G27 so that I get used to the change in driving style that will result from going from a keyboard to a steering wheel. So that by the time I have got my Uber computer ready to run on Twitch and on YouTube, I will be able to give you outstanding driving with, and I plan to use a webcam showing the wheel and gearbox that will sit in the corner, and it'll probably for Twitch and YouTube it'll possibly sit in the corner where that mirror is now. Which means it won't be in my way when I'm driving. That mirror will be gone as soon as I've got track IR, because I'll be using my actual mirrors. Oh crap! I've missed it. Oh. I'm gonna run out of fuel because I have missed the garage. Hang on, see if I can pull a Yui. I can probably pull a Yui. This is going to be quite stressful, particularly if there's a vehicle coming the other way up that road, because given the way the AI works, they're not particularly. Alright, I'm gonna pull a Yui in the rest area. They're not particularly fond of giving way. So, engine off. Now let's fill it with some fuel. It's £1.27 a litre, which isn't particularly cheap, but we are in possibly the second most expensive part of the map. Scandinavia, the most expensive is the United Kingdom. The cheapest, I think, is Poland. Although Poland mitigates that with toll roads. So that's £1,526 and 1,200 litres. I think that's. Oh, sorry, that's the most we've put in. Right, so we're going to pull a Yui. See how this works. See, do we get away with this? Yeah, we got away with it. So if I had track IR, I'd be swinging my head to look. But I can't move the camera while I'm driving. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. Because I'm using the keyboard, I haven't got enough spare fingers to actually do it. Right, we're good. We're not going to run out of fuel. Right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to drive for another 10 or 12 minutes real time. And then I'm going to pause the game and upload the footage. And then we'll carry on from where we left off, but you won't see any difference because you won't see that happening. You'll go straight from, right, we're going to stop, to, right, we're back again. So, let's overtake this blue car that's travelling mysteriously slow. I believe that's a Ford Focus. A Ford Focus, sorry. So I don't know why I descended, that's rude. I don't know why I disappeared into a Geordie accent to say Ford Focus, but I did. I said Ford Focus. I suppose because it's funny to say a Ford Focus with a Geordie accent. I'm not a Geordie, by the way, and I apologise to all Geordies for the appallingness of that appalling attempt at an impersonation of a Geordie accent. Oh, I'm concentrating now, so I'm actually getting a little bit of a headache. That's good. So, yet again, I'm really going to have to sort out... Whoa. Nearly missed that junction. Okay, what the heck? Alright, it's alright. I thought for a second it was one of these roads that pointlessly merges off, but no. We are on a separate road, which is a relief, and not a waste of time at all. The one thing this game doesn't... What the heck? Why the hell did we do that? Okay, no, we officially did waste a bunch of time there. I could have just sped through. We're still in Scandinavia. So it's another one of these map merges. The map makers are brilliant, but sometimes the maps do... The GPS does stuff that doesn't need to. You all know that Aalborg, if you're heading past Aalborg, the map will make you get off and get back on the same road, and you don't need to. I think actually when I was on the way to Oslo, was it Stockholm? Oslo, maybe. I in fact, I sped. I ignored the instruction and had no problem. So another toll road. Scandinavia is both one of them. What is it? The second most expensive for petrol. Second most expensive. £151. Wow, and it's quite expensive for toll roads. It's possibly an expensive place to get lorries as well, but I've kind of noticed that if you can get. I buy all my lorries from the big dealership in Luxembourg now, because the one in London was charging me an extra couple of grand for the same lorry. So that's true to life, because the British do get screwed over like that. Here's an example of how screwed over we get. The dollar is about £1.40, £1.50. So it's for every pound you get $1.50. So that's 50, a third as much. But quite often you will pay exactly the same in figures, but not value for something. Like, for instance, a £600 iPhone, a $600 iPhone will cost you £600 in the UK. So you're paying, what you should be paying is $400, because that would be the rough US to UK equivalent price. But for some reason, they have decided that it's okay to rip people off. The PlayStation 3 isn't so bad. We're still playing, PlayStation 4. We're still playing slightly more than the Americans, but it's £349 compared to £349 compared to $399. I mean, it's not brilliant. It's not good, but it's better than some other things. But when it comes to my iPhone, I don't actually pay full price for my iPhone anyway, because I get it with a contract. I don't want, and the thing is, I own the phone at the end of the contract. It's mine. You tend to pay. The phone manufacturer, the mobile providers tend to get their money back through the contract, so you end up paying the full price for the phone through the contract. So, for instance, my last contract was with a mobile phone company called Orange, and they made me pay £250 for the phone, and then made me pay £30 a month for the contract. As part of that, I got a set number of minutes, a set number of texts, and a certain amount of data. But I'm pretty sure that I could get all of that for less if I didn't want the fancy smartphone. The trouble is, I want the fancy schmancy smartphone. English, indubitably second language today. So that's that. But anyway, we were talking about New Zealand. Whoa. We were talking about New Zealand. And so, we have been to the following places, and I'll possibly remember places later on and shout them out like a madman. But we've been to Geraldine, Fox Glacier, Franz Josef Glacier, Dunedin, Oamaru, the Haast Pass, where else? Sumner, New Brighton, Blenheim, Kaikoura, a bunch of places in Marlborough that do wine. We've been to a number of small towns whose name currently escape me, because they're difficult to pronounce, and I couldn't remember how to pronounce them when I was looking at them, never mind reading them. One of the fascinating things about New Zealand is 800 years before Europeans arrived, South Pacific Islands, South Sea Islanders arrived in New Zealand and started to spread through the place. They started the process of deforesting, because the island was essentially just trees. In fact, when Captain Cook arrived in the Bay of Islands, hang on, I need to look 45. Do you know what? I'm going to get some rest because I'm looking at the clock and it says 45 minutes. That is enough for me. Parking, yes, parking's this way. So let's park. Let us get some rest. Engine off. And let's have some rest. Let's get back on the road. So, let's have a quick look where we are actually while we're faffing around. We are... Okay, we're in Denmark. We're halfway through Denmark, so we've got a little ferry journey. So we should claw back some sleep time. So actually we're doing quite well. And 12 hours journey time is good. Like I said, we'll probably claw back a couple of hours of sleep time on that ferry journey, I reckon. So we should be able to make it. So in that sleep we got an extra £40,000. I'm not going to do any buying or selling in this journey, but in the next video we're going to look at putting lorries in Aberdeen or Warsaw or Amsterdam, or all three. Depends on our funds, and I do kind of want to keep a bank of £140,000. I want just in case we go to a capital and I want to buy it, because obviously the aim is to get as many garages as possible and then get as many trucks. Well, the trucks can be bought at any time, but the garages can only be bought when you visit them. So I kind of want to always have enough money to buy a garage when I visit a town. Now obviously that gets easier and easier the more money you have, because you end up having the funds to buy... Oh no. Oh no. I think there's been an incident. I think that might explain... No, I might be alright. But yeah. Oh god, really? Did you see that? That little crash that just happened there? Oh, okay. Oh my goodness me. Sorry, I've got to leave the truck to watch this. That was quite funny. So, oh, this is a nightmare. I am not waiting. I'm sorry, but I'm not waiting. Oh my goodness me. And I'm not waiting here either. Yeah, that was quite dodgy, but the thing is you can get trapped at those junctions for quite a long time, and while I'm more than happy to wait at those in a private profile, I'm not videoing it, and it's not supposed to be entertainment, it is not in any way entertaining to watch a video where someone's sat there doing nothing. So we try and get on with it as much as we can on these videos, and sometimes that means doing things that we absolutely wouldn't do in real life, then so be it. But this lorry driver, see, these lorry drivers are absolute kamikazes at junctions, but then they become model citizens. Like you know, when they're on the main road, which I find bizarre. I'm about to get a fine, I think. for driving on the wrong side of the road. No, I got away with it. So you might or might not hear in the background a kind of buzzing or whooshing noise. I've got the heat pump on. Heat pump is a complete misnomer. It is a climate control unit. It's on cool at the moment, but it can do hot as well. And primarily, Kiwis use it for warming up. They'll have warm days when they're not in the house, and then they'll come home and the house is just an icebox because the temperature has plummeted at night. Let's be careful about this ramp. It looks benign, but you never know. So they... Whoa, did you see that? That wasn't pleasant. Right, so we've got a 2-hour journey to Rostock. Cool. I wonder if we'll get any of our rest time back. Oh, I'm thirsty. It's right. Oh, I keep forgetting to put the the parking brake on when I'm in a ferry. I'm not jumping over that. Because I don't want the load broken any more than the 1% it already is. So we've got a 10-hour, well, nearly 11 hours till our next rest stop, and 9 hours to do the journey. Bish bosh. I don't know. Yes, so we had our rest stop, and then we got the couple of hours that we used to get to the ferry stop. We got back on the ferry. That is good. So we don't have to worry about resting for the rest of this journey, which is excellent. We don't have to worry about petrol. We've got a nice big fuel tank. So now all we have to worry about is not crashing. And believe me, that's going to require all of... Oh, what the hell? See, that is out of order. I was already on the roundabout, so... Well, at least that was only damage to the cab, not the load. But that is annoying. I was on the roundabout. There was no reason for him to think that he could pull out. So I suppose it's realistic. People do that sort of stupid thing. But if they're going to do that, they need to make other parts of it more random and less rigid. Speed limits for a start. I don't think any lorry or car in this game breaks the speed limit apart from you, the player. Oh, and oncoming traffic. Oncoming traffic will only come to a halt with other AI traffic. It won't come to a halt with you. As I've discovered to my cost several times playing this game, they plough into you at full speed because the game doesn't look for the player on this side, on the wrong side of the road. It only looks for the AI on the wrong side of the roads. Okay, we don't want that. We want this. So we're going to turn right here. Let's kill some speed a little bit. So New Zealand is an incredibly beautiful country. Let's get back to New Zealand, which was what we were talking about. And I have travelled a lot of New Zealand. I've driven a lot around New Zealand. I've flown between Auckland and Christchurch quite a bit, but then we wouldn't be driving those distances anyway, and I won't get to do that drive. Although I have done it once already. My wife will. I'm going back to my flight back to the UK is on the 16th of May, so I will be flying first to Shanghai and then to London Heathrow on the 16th of May, so I should get back on, I think, the 18th. Then then my wife spends another 2 or 3 weeks because she has to work for more than a full year in order to not pay back the relocation funds. We were given, I think, about £5,000, 5,000 New Zealand dollars to help relocate, and that paid for things like baggage. It went towards our flights here, and it helped with the deposit for the house, for the flat, for the first flat that we had, which was in a different part of Christchurch. Our first place was in a suburb called Merivale, and our second place is pretty much inside it's near the CBD. It's in the central part of Christchurch. When my wife and I came for a fortnight over in 2010 over Christmas, she wanted to take us on a trip around New Zealand, and we were initially going to do both islands. And I kind of wish we had. Now that we're living in Christchurch, I kind of wish we'd seen Christchurch before the earthquake, because we were here in 2010. The earthquake was in 2011, so we were here 14 months. We were in New Zealand 15 months before the earthquake. And so it would have been night. We were close. We were in Wellington, which is, we could have taken a quick hop on an aeroplane and had a quick shufti at Christchurch, had a wander around and looked at the place. But we didn't. In the end, we decided not to bother. But we didn't know that Christchurch was going to suffer a devastating earthquake. Now, the wife hadn't been to Christchurch before, but her parents and her sister had lived here for 6 months. Her dad was working for Christchurch University, or I think it's University of Otago. I can't remember. It's one of the big university in Christchurch, and so they spent 6 months here before the earthquake. So they got to see the place before it collapsed. Where we didn't. But we did drive from Wellington to Auckland, and the wife's going to do Christchurch to Auckland, which means a 5-hour journey from Christchurch to I forget what the name of the place is now. Begins with I. It's the ferry port at the top of the South Island. Then the ferry goes from there to Wellington, and then it's a drive from Wellington. Now, obviously, she'll take a more direct route to Auckland from Wellington than we did in 2010. In 2010, we wanted to visit a few places, and so we did that. She will have to stop a couple of times. She'll have to stop possibly in Blenheim. She'll have to stop. It's a good old ferry ride, so she might be able to get some sleep actually on the ferry. And then she'll have to stop halfway up the North Island, somewhere like Palmerston North, and then she'll get into Auckland, and the poor little thing will be absolutely knackered. I know how stressful it is driving, and it's stressful when there are two of you. When there's one of you, and no distraction. And the other problem that she has is that the car stereo doesn't work. The radio sort of works, but it doesn't. The plan is to bring. We don't have much with us because we came with 3 suitcases and a bag. We're trying not to bring more stuff back than we came with, but that's kind of not working. We're getting rid of things like clothes that are. She's planning to throw away quite a bunch of clothes through wear and tear. I mean, a year is quite a lot, so she'll probably get rid of a pair of jeans, and underwear tends not to last very long on anyone. I know I've thrown a handful of bits of underwear away just through normal wear and tear, but But obviously we will have a few items that we won't have been able to get rid of through FreeCycle, or which is an excellent recycling system, where something you don't want but you don't think you'll be able to sell it for very much, or it'll be more effort to sell it than it is worth, or it'll cost you more to sell than you'll get from someone buying it. You can do something called FreeCycling. You select the area you're living in, you describe the item, you give the time frame in which you want to get rid of it, and then people looking for that sort of thing can send you an email and say, "Hi, I'm interested in that. When can I come and pick it up?" And then they come and pick it up from you, and poof, poof, gone. We did that with a couple of my old tellies. I had a couple of old tellies. I kind of regret selling one of them, but what can you do? But when we moved from New Zealand, from the UK to New Zealand, we got rid of an awful lot of stuff. I bought all of these next Star Trek. This is going to sound terribly nerdy, but I was very much into Star Trek: The Next Generation, and when it first came out on, to buy, it was in video cassettes, and you got 2 episodes per cassette. It was something like 90 video cassettes. I had the whole lot, everything, all of them. And I replaced them with 4 box sets that were the size of 4 cassettes. So I replaced 90 cassettes with 4 boxes the size of a cassette each. They have now subsequently come out on Blu-ray. So I got them. I went from video cassette to DVD, and then they decided to release them on Blu-ray. And so now I'm going to have to replace them on Blu-ray, because this time the DVD transfer was a bit ropey, and it looks a bit wishy-washy, and the effects look a bit crap. What they did was they filmed them they recorded them on film, and then they digitized that film and did the special effects on video. But this is of course late 80s, early 90s video, so the effects looked pretty good for 1989, 1990 television, but pretty ropey given that we're in the 21st century. Ooh, we've discovered a city. Ooh. Let's have a quick look at the map. Didn't know we were going to do that. I am going to do a loop and get those. But why? Because I can. So let's get in the left-hand lane, because we're going to be hiring a lot of drivers in the next sort of 4 or 5 videos, and I want every available recruitment agency. I want my pool of drivers to be as large as possible to select from. And we're doing quite well. I mean, you guys know what our map looks like. We've discovered quite a lot of the cities. We've discovered there is going to be a point at which we're not going to be able to discover new cities, because we've discovered them all, and then our primary goal will be to discover roads that we've not driven along. And yes, there are plenty of roads that we've not driven on. We've only driven along about 50% of the map, if that. 38, 40. We have discovered 43% of the map. So we've still got, although we've discovered more than half the cities, we've not driven along all the roads yet. And so that will be our aim, is to pick up the roads that we've missed. Now it might be that we do that before we might get to 100% map discovery before we've got to 100%, and then we'll have to make a judgment call as to whether it's worth carrying on with the profile or not. And there is our truck dealer, Mercedes-Benz, or Majestic, as the game would have it. It would be really nice if Mercedes just stopped playing silly beggars and agreed to the license. It really would. Alright, so the game wants us to turn right here, but we're not going to because we want to discover that recruitment agency. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to turn right here and hope no one's coming. And we got lucky. And there's the recruitment agency. So we've done a little detour in Szczecin. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I think I ought to. So we will make a concerted effort to find out what that pronunciation is, and we're about to go. So we're in Poland, obviously. We got to Poland pretty much as soon as we got off the ferry. Okay, that's interesting. Alright, go then. Go. You're really slow off the bat, and now you're really slow again. That's just annoying. Okay, now he's slower. Okay. Okay. The AI just isn't. I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself because I could get quite sweary and ranty. Oh, you swine. Okay. Maybe this is part of the program's. It's designed to try and put obstacles in your way. Maybe that's the idea. But it is infuriating. This guy's just really starting to pee me off because he's going so slow. I don't know. I don't know if the program is sophisticated enough to make the AI perform depending on whether it's carrying a load or not. And if it's carrying a load, like it looks like he's got pipes and something covered in tarpaulin in the back. And I would be deeply impressed if the program is sophisticated enough that he slows down when he is carrying a load. I'm very glad to get rid of him, I'll tell you now. So we've got an open road in front of us and nothing in our way, and this is the last road that we'll get on before we get to Gdańsk. So as I was saying, New Zealand, I think the thing I was talking about before we stopped the video was how when Captain Cook arrived at the Bay of Islands, which is, if you look at a map of New Zealand, if you look at the North Island and then look at the top of the North Island, at the top left hand of the island there's this sort of archipelago that sticks up and points sort of northwest. It's a large portion of the island that points sort of northwest, and there's a huge area on the eastern coast of that called the Bay of Islands, and it's called the Bay of Islands for very obvious reasons. There are a ton of little islands in that bay, and it's where the British first landed, and it's where a number of important things in New Zealand history have occurred. The first British citizen to live on the island. It was where the Treaty of Waitangi was signed. A number of skirmishes occurred there. It's the birthplace of the nation of New Zealand. And when Cook arrived in that bay, he was struck by how loud the bird life was. The island was essentially significantly forest. It was a large forested area, and it's the British that brought lawns. There were no lawns in New Zealand until the Brits arrived. Because the British, they do like their gardens and their lawns. In fact, it's a concept we took to Germany. If you go to Munich, they've got a place called the Englischer Garten, because the Germans they didn't have these big sort of parklands with large areas of grass like we do in the UK, and they quite like the idea, and so there's an Englischer Garten, although bizarrely in the middle of the Englischer Garten is a large Chinese building, and that's sort of the gradiated pointy temples style. Is it Chinese or Japanese buildings? I think it's Japanese, actually. The Japanese temple. Actually, we could probably overtake this blue car. And this blue truck, actually. Yeah. We could have probably bullied our way past the red one if we'd have thought about it. Although that said, the draw distance is quite shallow, and so I wasn't 100% clear on what was there. Don't you dare drive into my load, you scumbag. And he didn't. And there's another fellow Volvo, and I think we're behind a Scania. I think. I could be wrong. Maybe it's another Volvo, actually. Looking at it, yeah. Ooh. Although the words on the mud flap look like Iveco, so I don't know where I am at the moment. So the mirror looks like a Volvo mirror. So I'm not quite sure where we are at the moment, but we've got 4 hours of journey time left. So, oh, crikey. I was so intent on finding what that lorry was, I nearly missed my turning. Although, strictly speaking, I didn't necessarily have to take that turn. I could have taken the left. Whoa. For some reason, you're crawling along significantly under the speed limit. So the way to make these guys go faster is to just try and overtake them. Oh, that was kamikaze, but it worked. Well, some drivers have earned some money, and we've gone up to 250, so we've got an extra £5,000 since the last time I talked about the money. So we started on 160, so we've nearly gained £100,000 through the sleep cycles and journey time. So we've had 4 full sleep cycles and 1 short 2-hour sleep cycle, which is where we've probably got the significant chunk of that money. So this is going east. I think we're in going east now. Well, actually, no, Gdańsk, I think. No, we've passed Szczecin, which was the edge of the vanilla map. We're now in the going east part of the map. So we're in the part of the map that SCS constructed later on when they knew what they were doing. The heck was he doing, do you think? More of those annoying Steam pop-ups. I thought I clicked all of the do not do that boxes. It is annoying. I don't want to see them. I really don't want to see them. If I'm doing something, I'm doing something. Send me an email. Whoa. No! Ah, sugar. How much damage did we do to the load? Good, none. We really got away with it. That was appalling driving, because I'm not looking at my map often enough. We missed we're doing all that, we missed the train going by as well. Never mind. I like watching the trains go by. It's a little touch that makes the game slightly more realistic. So at least we've only done 1% of the damage, and that was because I was trying to. I wasn't looking at the screen, and I drifted. I may or may not have fewer accidents when I get to the steering wheel because I'm required to use 4 fingers and across 2 hands to perform all the functions of lorry driving. When I get the steering wheel, I'll be using my feet to do all the braking and all of the accelerating, and I can do the steering with one hand. And then I can click other things. I can beep horns. I can flash my lights. I can do other things. I can use the indicators. The indicator is going to be a big one. It's like second nature when I'm driving with the steering wheel to use my. And we're in Gdańsk, peeps. We're in Gdańsk-ish. We're probably on the outskirts of Gdańsk. It's become like second nature to use my indicators when I am at a junction or when I'm turning off a main road. I just do it out of habit. And obviously, because I'm not using a steering wheel, I can't do that. The game just I don't have enough fingers and enough of a spread on my fingers to do it. Whoa, that was close. That was very close. Let's slow down, because the lorry in front of us wants us to plough into it. Ooh. Another railway line. I think this is the same railway line. I think we just looped over it. Gosh, this guy's slow over the railway lines. This is very much like New Zealand. There are a lot of these sort of rail crossings in New Zealand where you drive over the tracks. There aren't many trains in... we're not in Gdańsk, it's telling us Gdańsk is that way, which is useful. The one thing it doesn't have on these road signs is distances. I kind of wish it did. It'd be nice, because in real... But the trouble is, when you're playing on a laptop like this, you can't read the distances. The signs would have to be larger and more unrealistic in order to fit the distance on so that you could read it. And then they would have to they would be able to lock down certain things, but like every road distance in the UK is miles, and every road distance in mainland Europe is kilometres. So there would be that. But then you've got people driving, getting confused as to why their journeys, they've spent all their time in mainland Europe used to kilometres, and they go to Britain to deliver a load. And the distances are different, because they're reading it as kilometres rather than miles. There you go. Okay, this guy's ticking me off. Oh, no. I got lucky there. And he was turning, that's why he was slowing down. But he was turning so far in advance as to be ridiculous. They slow down almost like the flick of a switch at the distance that you would start slowing down. So if you travel too close to the truck in front and he's turning, he will suddenly go from 90k to 50k over the flick of the switch, and then do 50k to the junction, which would be the time at which you would slow down. Now, in real life, that would give you the chance to slow down with him, because you would be slowing down with him. It wouldn't be a flick of the switch. It would be a gradual retarding of speed. But there you go. Oops, speed camera. But I got away with it, because I was travelling under the speed limit, or at the speed limit. It was a wiggly woggly road. So we've got about 2 hours of journey time left, so we should be alright to fit this in 2 chunks. I do get slightly annoyed when I have to do these things in 3 or 4 chunks, and it's usually because I get disturbed. Sometimes I have been disturbed by the missus while I've been doing the wrap-up with the journey breakdown, and I can't do the journey breakdown while she's in the room. It's not fair to her. She's quite noisy when she comes home, and she doesn't want to come home and be quiet while I finish off these journeys, and that's fair enough. And also, I kind of prefer to be in isolation while doing these. I'm still not over the sort of the embarrassment of playing, a 44-year-old man playing video games and the way my setup works. It's not exactly. It kind of looks a bit, well, a lot amateur. This is ticking me off. I will be so annoyed if he speeds up. No, he didn't. We're good. Will I get by this transporter, or will I crash into oncoming traffic? Oh, look at that! A fantastic array of wind towers. Isn't that fantastic? And we got from one blue car and a transporter to another blue car and a transporter. That's fun. That's fun for all concerned. So, do we have any oncoming traffic? Can we get past this? No, we've got an oncoming lorry. So New Zealand New Zealand is still quite lush, given that the land mass is slightly larger than the United Kingdom, but has half the population of London, a third of which live in one particular part of the country. For the most part, the country is relatively unspoiled. Now, that does have its drawbacks for humans, meaning that people living at the very tip of the very bottom of the South Island, a place called Bluff, or even further, Stewart Island, which is a nice big clump of 2 islands, I think, at the bottom, below the North Island. The distance between them and, say, Rayanga, which is at the top, or Kaitaia, is quite huge. But I find it surprising that, given the distances and the accent is. There's only 2 distinct, real distinct accents in New Zealand: the Māori accent and the European accent. They're slightly similar, but the regular New Zealand accent is it's kind of precise. It's a more precise sounding pronunciation of the Australian accent. With the Māori accent, they kind of round everything. I can't do it. Actually, I'm sorry, I can't do it. But I don't want to sort of upset anyone who might be Māori and watching it. I apologise, but that's as close as I can get to your accent. There's slightly more rounded sounds. The sound comes more from the chest than the nose. The Western accent's more nasal. I've got a fly buzzing me all the time and he's annoying me. I'm sorry. If I lose concentration or focus, it's because this damn fly keeps landing on me. Okay, so we are nearly Gdańsk. We're nearly at the end of this particular journey. There we go. damn it, I'm on the wrong side of the flipping road, as is typical for me. So we're going over the overpass. So it is quite a lush and beautiful country, and it's quite unspoiled. But my point about talking about the distances between, say, Bluff and Kaitaya is that, for instance, they had no national broadcasting television until the late 60s because they didn't have a network for it. So they got television in 62, and it was regional. There'd be like one in Canterbury, I think one in Dunedin, there'd be Wellington and Auckland. There'd be the four, and they would have transmitters. But if you were in a rural area, you were stuffed. You were lucky if you got television. Mind you, you were also lucky if you could afford television. They had a thing called the New Zealand Broadcasting Corporation, which was kind of a riff on the BBC. It was sort of their version of the BBC, and it was entertaining, but it was amateur, and it was all recorded on film and then transferred. Which sounds bizarre now. They didn't really get, hey, we've discovered Gdańsk. Gdańsk is ours. And let's have a quick look at the map. Damn it. I do kind of wish we hadn't turned left now. We'll have to do that at the beginning of the next video. And mind you, we've got 16 hours, we've got plenty of time. We are kind of running out of time though, so yes, it's probably just as well that we don't do that. Alrighty. Yeah, so getting anywhere in New Zealand was quite a struggle. So a lot of New Zealand was kind of isolated until flight became relatively inexpensive. But they had a ferry system, and they had quite a good ferry system because it was the only way of getting from the North Island to the South Island. So they could have some quite big ferries. They can't do that now because the ferry is something like $250 to $300, whereas a flight's like $30 to $60, depending on the time of year and all sorts of other factors. But so the ferries are a pale shadow of their former selves, which is the way things go. Right, let's deliver this load. What kind of delivery point have we got here? We've got the big one, a huge one with the big metal posts, which should be relatively easy, but given my relatively crappy skills, usually ends up being a hassle. Right, let's see if that did the trick. See if I can get this relatively straight. And can we get it in one go? I don't know if we can. Oh no! You overcooked it. Don't think that counts as one go. I don't know if this is going to go green even. Will it go green? Nope. In fact, what we might have done is we might have slightly damaged the load a little bit. Nope, that's not the way we want to go in. Oh! I was green for a second. There we go. We're in. Right, so, parking brake on. Engine off. And let's see how badly we did. Good work, which is what I was expecting, given that we didn't have the undamaged journey. Oh, 2%. Yeah, I had a feeling that like backing into the wall would have added an extra %. So, good work. Mercuric chloride delivered from Oslo to Gdańsk. It was 1,321 kilometers. It took us 29 hours and 46 minutes, including a short ferry ride of 2 hours. We used 521.7 litres of fuel. Our base reward was £30,874 and 1,321 XP. Our proficiency bonus for level 22 was £10,188. Our ADR delivery bonus for class 6 was 277 XP. Our long distance delivery bonus for skill rank 3 was £4,518 and 330 XP. And our bonus for parking the trailer was 45 XP, which kind of helped mitigate the fact that we damaged that trailer. 2% damage to the trailer, which cost us £186, and it cost us 19 XP. We did a huge chunk of our level. I think that's more than a third. So our total financial reward was £45,394, and our total XP reward was 1,954 XP, which brings us within 800 XP of level 23, just under 8. So our profile lifetime XP is 56,542 XP, and level 23, as it was in the last journey and the journey before that, is our target is 57,300. So we are in Poland. We haven't leveled up. We have quite a lot of money, and we will possibly look to spend some of that money at the beginning of the next video. We'll see what we've got. But as always, thank you for watching this video. If you've watched it all the way through, thank you very much. If you've just watched bits of it, that's fine. Thank you for doing that anyway. And until the next video, I'll see you on the road.